From quite early on, we thought that there was something a little bit different about Max as a baby. Max was born with actually a physical condition as well called arthrogryposis, which basically meant his hip joints were very stiff. So he was delayed with walking and mobility in general. And I guess that kind of masked the autism side, because we were just told, oh, he's only late walking because of his physical problems. But, you know, I think we knew he was a very difficult baby. He demanded attention constantly. He didn't sleep.
Even from the start.
Properly. Right from the start, he never fed properly. I think once Leo was born, say from about when Leo was 6 months, obviously he started to do a lot of things that Max just never did. It became apparent then that there were quite big differences. So we sought medical advice, but we didn't really get anywhere. He had really bad tantrums, more severe than an average child, and he would go into what we now call meltdowns. Max's language is brilliant, it always has been, and I think that kind of masked as well a lot of his problems. Just to talk to him for a few minutes, he just seemed like any other child.
Yes, I can hear you.
When Max started school, it became apparent then his teacher was excellent, and she more or less, I think within the first few days, had realised that there was something amiss. So we took it further and finally got him diagnosed when he was 5. Once we got the diagnosis, really we were just left to our own devices, and it's only really us requesting help from professionals that we've actually received any.
There were standard responses from the doctors' consultants, and it was, there you go, you've been diagnosed, away you go, next please.
We received a lot of information from the consultant, and through that information we contacted the National Autistic Society. The National Autistic Society is the only place that we found that can offer the advice and information that we need. When we tried to get Max a statement of educational needs for school, that was a battle. But again, there's so much information that they have on the website, who to contact, where to go to for advice.
We was told that Max wouldn't be able to read, or at least be very limited reading going forward. But with the help from the National Autistic Society, they sort of like gave us a list of what to expect with regards to helping Max, and one of them was having the option to have another teacher through the statement, and we are seeing the benefits now, and he's starting to read now, and he's starting to write.
What's that one?
Scary, isn't it?
I joined the National Autistic Society local support group in Derby shortly after we'd received Max's diagnosis. We go to monthly meetings, and they're a godsend really for us. I think the main thing is to be with other families in the same situation as yourself.
You'll hear situations that you think, oh yeah, you know, that's probably explains what happened with Max the other day, and then you take that and you apply that the next time round.
I would definitely recommend the National Autistic Society's help seminar programme. One of the things that I've really found useful from that was using picture symbols. Although Max is verbal, he does struggle to understand instructions, and by having pictures, symbols, which we still use now over the house, has really helped. The main one I can think is just getting dressed in the morning. We don't need to use it now, but we had it and it broke down the simple steps that we needed to. Because the problems on the autistic spectrum are so wide, it's an opportunity to ask questions about your specific child. Some of the meetings will have speakers that come in from the autistic field to do a talk, which is really, really interesting. And then other weeks we might just focus on a specific subject that all the families can just join in and talk about. And there's certain behaviours that Max displays that we think are to do with some sort of sensory needs, but it would be really good to find out why he does these things. For example, he jumps up and down when he's excited, he flaps a lot, and he can't sit still. It's an area that we find quite difficult to understand.
The aim for today is really to look at sensory processing, what it is and why a lot of children with autism seem to have differences in sensory processing. Most of your children, in the same way that they're on different places on the autism spectrum, will have massively different sensory needs as well. If we could have a sensory spectrum, they'd probably be all over it, wouldn't they? I've done this job for the last 7 years and I love this job. I think the fact that we can come out and make a difference, and I've learnt so much in the last 7 years from the families that I've worked with. And you'll probably find that things change on a daily basis in terms of sensory needs sometimes, that you just think you've sussed them and they seem to be doing the complete opposite. So I want you to just try for a minute, closing your eyes, think about what sounds you can hear, anything you feel, can you taste anything?
I found today's seminar really interesting and informative. There's lots of things in it that are totally relevant to me and to Max, so I'm hoping to gain a lot from it.
Feedback we've had from families has always been really, really positive. We do lots of evaluation, we meet families who come back to other seminars as well, so I think they're voting with their feet on that one. And just that real kind of key thing of being somewhere where there's other parents who are going through similar difficulties as well.
So again, if it wasn't for the National Autistic Society, we literally would have nowhere to go, nowhere at all. Apart from looking on the internet or reading books, which are great, but we feel that the only people that actually give you practical advice is the National Autistic Society.